Oh, awesome. You guys are recording it too. I always do double recordings. So great, great. Um, Give me your thoughts on this fight because the guy you're fighting, he dropped Duke Reagan, pretty good fighter, coming off a split decision, probably a ton of confidence. What are your thoughts on him?
Um, I know that he's gonna be a very durable fighter, a very tough fighter. I know he has heart, he has hunger coming into this fight just like me. And I feel it's gonna be a good fight. I know it's gonna be a good fight. I don't envision myself losing at all. I'm very confident of with my training camp, with my team, and what we have done, and I feel like we're gonna get the best of them that night.
What about main eventing this card? What's this opportunity like, especially being an LA based fighter?
Oh, it's great, man. I'm excited, I'm excited. It means a lot to me, headlining the Commerce Casino in my city, man. I feel great. I'm glad we're doing it again, the main event again. My second main event for 360, and we're doing it for the Continental title, the WBC Continental title. And I'm glad it's against a tough fighter, durable fighter, because it's going to be a great night for the fans.
For context, and if you don't know, fine. How many people do you think are coming out to support you approximately that you would say that you're bringing into your local market?
Not exact number, but a lot. It's gonna be a lot, man. A lot. I have a huge fans. Have a huge fan base, and I feel like it's gonna be. They're gonna turn the venue into arena that night.
Have you guys ever been around each other? Because I noticed that it says on BoxRec he's based out of California in the Southern California area. Have you ever seen him in the gyms or sparring?
Oh yeah, like actually at the start of my career when I had 0 fights, I met Joey. I met Joey. He had like what 7 fights. He was an up and comer, I believe, and we met. We sparred a couple times. We've been in the gym a couple times, and yeah, I'll see him around the fights and stuff like that. Especially because I think he helped out one of my stablemates, Danny Roman, with some sparring at some point. So we've been around each other, and I actually know his father. He knows mine, and we consider, I guess, friends. But that night inside the ring, there's no friendships. We're going in there head on and put on a show for the people.
When did you realistically know that he could be a future opponent? Like when you first met him, or was it just rather recent?
I don't know, man. It's weird. I feel like I always, since I knew we were in the same division, I kind of always knew we were gonna fight. As long as he stood active and stood healthy and stood fighting, and likewise myself, I feel like we were gonna face off at some point. And look now, January 27th, this weekend, we're facing off for the WBC.
Perfect. I read an interview or I listened to an interview. You talked about working two jobs before going all in on boxing. I was kind of curious about that, just your work ethic and then transitioning into being a full-time fighter.
Well, yeah. When I was in fighting, or I mean, I tried to go to school. I didn't like school, so I went to a 9 to 5. So, yeah, I was working at a warehouse, and then I was helping out some buddies. They had a business going of moving people out and moving people in from their houses. I was doing that. I never like staying home. I always like being at work, making some sort of money. Not even the money, just staying distracted, and yeah, I feel like it transitions well to boxing because I'm a worker, man. I'm a hard worker, and anything I do and everything I put my mind to, and I'm glad I chose boxing instead of a 9 to 5 now.
Okay. And any context to like, I'm a Northern California guy. I don't really know the LA area as well. What's the neighborhood you're like from, and are there perils of the street life that potentially could have dragged you in or some of your friends? Like, is there any context that I should know about there?
Oh, I'm from Boyle Heights, East LA. Is known for being tough, a tough neighborhood. There's a lot of gang activity, but besides the gang activity, it's a lot of like blue collar people, man, that work hard, that I get inspired from. That I wake up at 5 in the morning to run, and they're waking up at 5 in the morning to clock in, and that's a big inspiration. And yeah, I mean, of course, there was always temptations, from getting to messing around in the neighborhood. I had a lot of buddies of mine that unfortunately passed away to the streets, and some of them was serving life, and some of them are still in, and that's because that's how they know, that's how we got brought up. And but I'm glad I was able to make a switch and put my focus in boxing.
Also, music and boxing. That was something that came up that your family, those are the two things. How did you know which one would be your passion?
Well, in my family, how I said it is there's two attributes, right? It's music and boxing, and my family loves to sing, play an instrument, and I noticed to me it was I gravitated. I mean, of course, I sang when I was little, and because from a very musical family, but like to me, I just since I was a kid, boxing or no boxing, I love fighting. You know, I grew up in I used to fight in school in the streets, and my dad just put me in boxing and just to let go of it, that anger or that energy into the gym and turn it into something positive.
Perfect. Um, a couple more. The signing with 360 Promotions, how has that been and what has that done for you?
Oh, it was great, man. I feel like I chose right. I chose right to sign with that promotion because they've been guiding me great in my career. They've been keeping me active. And then they're collaborating with Dana White on UFC Fight Pass. That's crazy to me, you know, because I grew up watching UFC and boxing, and then combining them together is crazy to me, man. And yeah, I'm very thankful for Tom Loeffner, all the staff in 360 Promotions, Dana White, and UFC Fight Pass, man.
Relationship with Cain Sandoval, an up and coming fighter from 360 Promotions. Like, what are your guys' relationship? It seems like you've built a bond.
Oh man, he's my guy, man. Yeah, me and Kane come from very similar backgrounds, you know. We're both hungry fighters, and we feel like we got a lot to prove, and we're here to do that. I'm fighting January 27th for the belt, and my boys putting on a show in February in Chumash, and I can't wait to get in the ring, and I can't wait to see him get in the ring.
Perfect. Boxing is personal to you. That was a quote that stood out to me. Can you elaborate a bit more on kind of why it's so personal and what maybe some of the offense you take to someone that wants to fight you?
It's just that I take boxing very seriously. You know, it's a very dangerous sport, and that's how I make my money. This how I make a name for myself, and this is my way out my neighborhood. You know, so when somebody wants to step up to me and fight me, that's like they want to take everything that I work for. So when somebody wants to fight me, I take it personal, man. I don't take them lightly. I train hard for them, and I get ready more than 100% to deliver that night, and that's why it makes it personal, man. Because when somebody wants to fight me, is I take it like they want to take everything I work for.
What's the story of the draw in your first fight?
It would just honestly, man. I came from a long layoff, right? Like I think I hanged up the gloves at 13. I came back at 22, and they had offered me a fight. And honestly, I wasn't even taking boxing seriously at that time. I just took the fight just to experience the boxing professional fight and to maybe something will come out of it, maybe not. But I just did it for the experience to not have regrets later on in life.
That's pretty good. I think more people can learn from that. How'd you handle the pandemic? The shutdown, young pro, I didn't understand this layoff that you had in your career, but how did the pandemic factor into kind of your pro development?
Oh man, it was other than it was tough. It was a good experience, you know, because it was something different, you know. But yeah, I remember I did my first fight in 2020, I think in February, if I'm correct, and everything got shut down in March. So I was like, man, like I think this is a sign. Maybe I shouldn't be boxing. You know, like there was a lot of like bumps in the road, but that's what comes with life. You know, bumps in the road, and it's just see how you manage around those obstacles. And yeah, man, me and my team we decided that we were not gonna stay still. We're not gonna stay with our arms crossed, and we knew that in TJ there was still gonna be fights going on, not at a high level, but we knew it was gonna keep us in a rhythm and keep us ready for when the doors open here in LA.
Last two, Daniel Roman, how inspirational has he been and what role has he played in your career?
Oh man, Danny Roman, man, I'm very grateful for him. When I came into the gym, I was still learning how to transition into the pros, right? And I was able to be in a couple of his camps, you know, for his fights that he had at the time, and yeah, I shared the ring countless times with him at the gym, and yeah, I learned a lot from him, man. He'll talk to me how he used to move around the pros, how his mentality in the ring, his mentality outside the ring, and I just grateful for him, man. He was like a mentor. He gave me a lot of advice, and I'm grateful for that.
Is there any specific camp that you remember from that like things maybe evolved, like you were in the camp maybe for TJ Dahoney or one of those?
I don't think I was there yet when he fought Doheny, I think, but I think for the fight, I think he had two fights that I was part of. The one he did in the Stud Hub and the one he did with Fulton, I think. his last
Okay.
fight.
Yeah.
Yeah, those were. I was getting ready for every time he was in camp. I was getting ready for a fight, so it worked great.
Perfect. And final one, just for the sake of possibly getting an article that gets clicked on so everyone leaves happy, is do you have any ambitions of ever fighting Naoya Inoue? Because he has a ton of fans and his fans love to read stories about him.
Oh, I know he's a tough guy, man. He's a monster. This is that's all in his nickname, right? But I would love to share the ring with him. If I'm ready to go and at elite level to face him, hey, I'll accept it with open arms, man. I feel like it'll be a great fight for the fans.
And what do you see when you look at him that makes him such a great fighter? Because I think that he embodies like a fighter's fighter to a lot of, especially lower weight fighters. I'm saying fighter a lot, but I think that whenever I bring his name up to a lot of people who compete, there's always a smile that there's something about him that's very pure.
Oh man, well just what he's done. He's been champions countless times. He's been undisputed, I think, 2 times if I'm correct. And man, like he's done a lot for the sport, and he has a high IQ. He's very aggressive, and I know he's a tough fighter. He's very tough, very respectable, and hopefully, one if I ever share the ring with him, we'll put on a great show.
Well, that's it. You put